so we talked about internal equity. We talked about external equity. How do we be equitable? Then how do we be competitive? Now we are coming to what? Individual equity. What is it called? Individual equity. Now, when I said individual equity, this session is all about how do you design variable pays, okay, and incentive schemes. And apart from that, a little bit about the benefits and the compensation budgeting. So when we talk about individual equity, what does it mean? That means pay differentials, okay, pay differentials among two people. If you recall my first session, what did I say? If two individuals are in the same job, but some are doing more work, or some are more experienced, or some are having many more certifications, how does organization then compensate them? Right? So for the so how do we compensate for two individuals who are in the same job? So if say for example, Amrita has 10 years of experience and Dijo has 15 years of experience, both of them are recruitment managers, and am I giving something for their experience, right? For their seniority? Or Amrita, in a recruitment position, she's able to achieve 150% target, and Dijo is able to achieve only 100%, then am I giving the same salary, or am I giving some extra for that extra performance? How do I compensate for that? Okay. How do I bring about equity within the individuals? This is what it is. So when we talk about equity, it's all about the extra money or the variable pay which we give. So when we talk about, as the name suggests, variable pay, what does it mean? As the name denotes, which varies, It is not a guaranteed pay. It is not a guaranteed pay. It's not a fixed pay. So in fact, if you recall 2 or 3 decades ago, who are the people who would actually get variable pays? It was the top management who were getting ESOPs and stocks and shares, and they also had certain percentage of their salary as variable pay. But now what do you say? What is the trend? What is the trend in the market? Almost every organization has variable pay, right? Every
Right.
organization has certain percentage of their salary as variable pay. Why? Because the market is so competitive. So competitive. Now, so why do you think organizations are now actually having a variable pay in their components? Because why? How will they motivate people to stretch, to do more work? If you are going to pay the same amount to X who's making 100 units and also to Y who's making 200 units, there's no differentiator. So people have now started across all organizations the component called variable pay. Now let us actually see. Now when we talk about variable pay, it's a part of the direct pay. And if you recall what I said yesterday, it's all about cash. Total cash component. Under total cash component, variable pay is a key component along with base pay. Base pay is your fixed component, cash component, and variable pay is your variable component. Now, it doesn't come with what? With a guarantee. It comes with certain kind of contingencies. It comes with certain kind of what? When I say contingencies, under certain conditions. Now, in my first session, I talked about something called hardship. Quick. I'm not going to repeat because we don't have much time. Please, what is hardship allowance? One example in your organization, guys. Quick. Anybody? Anybody who can recall?
Hardship, can we say like a shift allowance? Because
Yeah,
if
shift allowance, night night shift
right.
allowance, or rig allowance or crane allowance, anything for which that person is, there is some kind of an hardship.
Yeah.
Okay, because two people may be in the same role, but somebody is actually coming at night. So there is some hardship. So he's being given. So that's a variable pay. But the moment he shifted back, it ceases because you don't add it in your base salary. Now, when we come to merit pay, merit pay for extra skills, etc. I'll come to the performance last. Merit pay, that means I can have extra certifications. One could be cross skill certifications, one could be upskill certifications. So, what I do, say for example, now Anamika has a certification in compensation benefit and she's working in that typical compensation role there. So, because of this certification, they'll say extra increment for her, right? So anything which say for example for a recruitment manager, you're doing a certification in talent acquisition, an extra incentive. And why do you do that? Because you want that the person should do better, perform. So you are wanting to motivate that person to do better, and you feel that you must actually link your salary with merit pay. So it can be for cross skills, it can be for upskills. Upskill is like something for which you are doing a career progression, etc., which I have discussed in detail in my first session. Now, hot skill. What is hot skill? A market linked to retention. Quick. I'm asking you because I've already mentioned about it.
Retention bonus?
No, I'm talking about a hot skill. See this one. What I'm saying is in the market,
Hot skill maybe
suddenly,
for
uh,
some niche kind of a job profile.
it may not be a niche, but suddenly there's a huge demand for that particular skill.
Okay, okay.
It's become hot. When will it become? Suddenly there's a huge demand, but
The
maybe
supply
because
is
of the
less
suddenly a
than
lot of,
demand.
you know how it is, right? Lot of organizations have come up, startups have come up like AI or something, and you find that there is a sudden demand and supply has become less, and you are actually utilizing that skill. So if you don't pay some kind of a allowance, then you will lose people. So that's called hot skill or market linked retention bonus, because it is linked to market. So you want to retain them. Got it? Okay. So this is now the classic example. So here we'll be dealing more with performance. Okay. So when we talk about variable pay, let us talk about performance. Now, typically when we talk about performance, what kind of incentives do we give?
So, ma'am, we can give the long-term incentives like deferred income plan. In my previous organization, I were processing that. So, I'm just thinking this could be the incentive.
Absolutely deferred. Yeah, we are coming to deferred, but we will first look at performance.
Yeah, performance.
Okay, performance. Today, most of the organizations, if they want, they have a strategy of high performance strategy. What they will need to do? Beyond, they have to go beyond the guaranteed cash and say, hey, you perform more and you will get more. So, performance incentive plan. A classic case of performance incentive plan is sales commissions at an individual level. What do salespeople have? They have a sales incentive plan, right? They get
Yes.
commissions. Huh?
Sales commission.
Sales commission.
And
Now,
the
how do you
recruitment.
design? So you get a sales commission. There is something like a predetermined target, right?
Yes.
They have a predetermined target. That means, hey, you if you make 100 units, so they'll give you a range. If you make 100 units, this is expected. You'll get some amount. If you make 150 units, you will get certain amount. If you make 200 units, you will get certain amount. So there is, what is it called? I say a range. 100. Like for example, in your performance, if you have so how do you review that performance? Okay, you've been low, you've been average, you've been so it's like that range. Whenever you say a range, you have a min max kind of a thing. So but this is coming with a predetermined. The sales guy knows already. If he's going to sell a Maruti, he will get this much commission. If he's going to sell a Ferrari, he will get Y% of commission. Or if he's only selling, there are only Marutis. So if he sells two, he'll get this much. If he sells four, he'll get. So there is predetermined target. So when you get a commission, what happens then? You are evaluated against those targets. So these targets could be typically, they could be, what would be the criteria typically when you're designing an incentive plan? What are some of the criteria? They could come with some kind of a financials, right? They could also come with some kind of a revenues. They could also come with some kind of a customer. What is that? Customer
Perspective.
satisfaction levels, right? Like for example, for an HRBP, I can always say, no, what is that employee satisfaction index? Last year 6. So you should improve it. I will give a specific target. So if you have improved, so what am I trying to say? That it is not abrupt or ad hoc. Whenever you're talking about an incentive plan, it has certain kind of a predetermined goals or targets, which vis-a-vis which you are evaluated, and then there will be a payout. Is this very clear? Very important. For example, for a recruiter, what could be some of the predetermined goals or criteria or key performance indicators? Quick. All of you are so
Closing
good at
position
this,
in the time limit. Closing the open
Pardon?
position within the time limit.
So one is time. Can I say?
Time.
Quick. Cost. Time, cost. Now,
Accuracy.
typically, say for example, now Dijo is a recruiter and he has to close 10 positions in 60 days time. So I have closed 10 positions in 60 days time. He has been given the time and the cost, and within the cost he has done, and everybody has been onboarded. He's also got his referral bonus because of that incentive plan. And after 30 days, what has happened? 10 people actually attrited. And then after 3 months, the business says they are sent on a PIP. So what is happening? What has been the output? What has become of the output? Quick, rapid fire, guys, because they are so familiar with it. I have not focused on what?
Quality or the profile.
Are you with me? So
Yes.
whenever there is an incentive plan, is it important to put in all those criteria, all those goals which I want to see in the output? Got it? If I don't mention quality, obviously DJ will say, hey, fine. I have closed it. I've got my referral. But what about quality then? So therefore, whenever you design an incentive plan, whether it's at an individual level, whether it's at a team level, whether it's at a group level, so you need to look at all the criteria or the predetermined goals which you want to see in the output. Is that one thing very clear, guys? So I'm emphasizing on. So when the output is evaluated based on what? Whether you have by the levels, by the range, whether it is 100 or 150 or 200, and you are then giving a payout. Okay. So there is sufficient, sometimes what happens, an incentive plan fails. Why? Because he says, hey, I've done so well, but I didn't get 100% incentive. Because why? Because you have actually not right in the beginning tried to create that criteria, the basis of which you will be given your incentive. Okay. Now, incentive plans could be typically at an individual level. Say, for example, in a worker piecemeal. Have you heard of piecemeal? Or per unit? If you go to a manufacturing organization, so number of units they have to make, or per piecemeal, you have to make 100 pieces, 500 pieces. They have given target within what time, and also the quality, that is no rework. Okay, if you are given a target of 500 and 400 are going for rework, do you think he deserves huh? So even that quality input is also there. Now at an individual, you can have that. At a team level, you also can have team rewards, right? At a team level, there is a very nice name given. You can also have gain sharing. What is gain sharing? Anybody who's heard of gain sharing? Mostly now, even IT companies have started doing gain sharing. Mostly, first of all, has anybody heard of gain sharing as an incentive plan? Yes, no?
No.
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 So gain sharing is an incentive plan. This also could be a what? Team plan, because gain sharing is not an incentive plan at individual level. Mostly, you will see this in the manufacturing organizations, on the shop floors or location. What exactly is gain sharing, as the name suggests? What happens in order to promote productivity, efficiency, etc., and where there is a lot of what interdependency. What is it? Interdependency of a team, or interdependency at a location, or in a plant, okay, or on the shop floor. It is not an individual work, it's a group work. There, how will you promote higher returns? How will you promote higher productivity? There you are actually institutionalizing or having a gain sharing incentive plan. Now, how is it done? It's mostly not on the profit. It's mostly at a operational level. When I say operational level, what does it mean? Say, for example, at a location, at a plant, you have to, what is it? You have to give some productivity. So there's a productivity index and there's a target, productivity target. Okay. And this productivity target is taking the trend of last 3 years or 4 years and say, hey, this is what the minimum they have to do. Okay. X amount. Now, what would they say? Hey, if you do this, then they will create a range. This is expected. This is expected. Now, if you do, then they will create a range where they will say, if you make this much, so there will be a range, and there will also be levels of how much, will you get at what particular range. Now, there will be also criteria. What is the criteria? Maybe you will have, uh, uh, typically in a shop floor or a plant, it is about resources. What amount of resources can be, or yes. Because if everything is getting reworked, etc., time cycles, then I'm also looking at cost factors. So all the inputs are looked at. How do you do this? All the inputs are looked at, and the criteria, predetermined goals are set here. Then when you have reached your output, or when you have actually the targets, that is, how do you evaluate those targets vis-a-vis these goals? And then you are given what? An X amount of share. That is sharing. Say, for example, you have made something like, 500, 5,000 units. Now, you have exceeded by, say, how much? 1,000 units. Then you will share that amount, the revenue of that amount amongst the entire group. Now, this is being done even in the IT departments where there is a lot of interdependency. So when you talk about gain sharing, it is at an operational level, and it is mostly sharing of the gains of whatever the targets have been. Very clear, guys? Gain sharing? Any doubts here? Just give me a thumbs up, please. Let's go to the next
It's
one.
clear, clear.
Let's go to the next one, gain sharing. Now, profit sharing. What is profit sharing? I'm sure everybody takes profits. Everybody gets profits at the end of the day. Huh? In every organization, there is something called profit sharing. What is profit sharing?
Equity?
At an organization level, this is at an organization level, variable pay, right? Where you
Profits.
can't actually determine that every year you are going to get this much. If your organization has made X amount of profits, which is profits, which is higher than what it is expected, then say 5%, 10% will be shared across the organization, across all levels, with certain kind of a percentage. Or if an organization has actually not made its targets, not made its profits, and it is below the mark, then you don't get anything. Has it happened to any of you in your organization where you have not got any bonus this year because the company has not made any profits? So it is not guaranteed. You may get it, you may not get it, depending on the profits the organization has made. So it's variable. Whereas, in incentive plans, what's the difference? You are able to predict how much you're going to get, right? You can work hard for it because there is a range. There is nothing like just zero. Now, when it comes to, there are also certain other things where there is something like what? Bonuses.
Yeah, performance bonus.
So, performance bonus. Depending on your performance, there is a percentage of bonus you get at the end of the year, right?
Yeah,
There
right.
is also something called project bonus. What is project bonus? There's a
Uh, eh,
specific project to be completed
y-
within the timelines, within certain criteria. It could be also cost, etc. So there's a deadline. There's a target. So if you have achieved within those criteria and you have finished the work within that, then you get a project bonus. So here you either get it or you don't get it. Like, for example, joining bonus. Rakesh was supposed to be getting 50,000 rupees, okay, when he is going to join a new job. Now, this company, but Rakesh didn't join. So, this company will say, hey, you are almost about to join. So, we'll give you 40,000 rupees. Will it give them? Will it give to Rakesh? Huh? Rakesh will be very happy, in fact. So, you either get it or you don't get it. Joining bonus. Likewise, Anamika, she was, she has accepted the offer and the organizations gave her a retention bonus for 3 years. She has to stay for 3 years. But she wants to go away after 2 years because she got a great job. So will they give her retention bonus, which was promised after 3 years? Because she was promised to stay for 3 years and then she gets a retention bonus, right?
right.
So she will not get. So some people say, "Arey, 1 more year, let me stay back and get the retention bonus." Huh?
Yeah, right.
So when we talk about bonuses, they're very specific, they're very targeted. Okay, you either get it or you don't get it. So when we talk about incentive plans, you can get, there's a range. There are predetermined goals or criteria against which you can get it. Just to show this here. So under deferred pay. Now, under deferred pay, what is deferred pay? That means you get it at a later point of time. So you earn for it, like stock purchase. Because Amrita is a very good employee, then I will say, hey, this is an intent where I'm giving you 500 shares at this particular rate. Okay. But you'll have to stay for what, 2 years or 3 years. Now she can't actually sell the shares or buy the shares till that time. Okay, vesting period it is called. Only after the vesting period, then she can buy those shares, which are company shares at a much lesser rate than what they are available in the market. Now, what is retention bonus? I've explained. What is annuity plans? This is something like a tax exempt for the middle managers or top managers. What happens? This is something like a superannuation, where instead of the money going as tax deductions, they offer something like an annuity plan where that money gets into a plan which gets invested in an LIC or some kind of thing, some bonds, and you can actually then get with interest, say after 5 years or after retirals. So the annuity plan is something essentially for tax saving purposes. Okay. You can have short-term incentives, you can have mid-term incentives, you can have long-term incentives. Now, typically an organization will have these incentives based on its strategy. So if my company is a high performance strategy, I want to make, most of the time revenue. Typically, the focus will be where? If you have a high performance strategy as your compensation strategy, where will your focus be? Will it be on STI, MTI, LTI? Quick.
It should be STI or MTI.
Absolutely short term, because you want to make more money in an
Yeah.
insurance, sales departments, in retail. You want your people to make more money, stretch more, make more revenues. Okay.
Yeah.
But say, for example, I'm a R&D company. Okay. I'm a research company. I'm a product development company. Huh? And so I will hire researchers, scientists, doctors. So what will I need to do? I need to have a retention strategy. So if I want to have a retention strategy, where should my focus be then? Where
It
should
should
my
be
focus be? Huh?
long term.
Long term.
Absolutely, long term. I want people to stay. I will give more benefits, better benefits, long-term incentive, stock options. Why do you think a lot of organizations who are into the product leadership kind of a company, they want better products because there's need to be a lot of what R&D, initiativeness, creativeness. So they want people who are really, really good. So they focus more on long term. But operational excellent companies where their focus is on productivity, their focus is on SOPs, that is starting what is it operation procedures and efficiency, excellence. Their salaries will be less, 50 percentile, 60th percentile, but their focus will be more on short-term incentives, that is high variable base, where make more, get more, make more, get more, because it's a win-win proposition. Because the cash flows, when you have higher base salaries, what happens? Your wage cost increases. But when you have lower base salary but higher variable pay, then it's a win-win. You are making more money because you are also performing. Okay. So this I've already told you all, guys. So I'm just running through. Pay for roles, pay for performance, pay for skills, right? It could be monthly payouts. It could be annually. Typically, when do you pay monthly? Whenever you want to actually what? You are having a short-term incentive plans for your call center people, for your retail executives, etc. You want to motivate them, but you want them to be retained. You pay mostly annually. It could be quarterly also. Okay. Now, what are the design considerations of uh, making a variable pay plan, or steps to introduce a variable pay plan? Okay. Because you will be doing an exercise. First is intent. What is it? Intent. Why do you want to have this plan? What is the purpose of this plan? Intent. So it could be from the business aspect, make more revenue. It could be from the HR aspect, you want to attract, you want to motivate, you want to retain. So these are some of the things, or it could be change in behavior, maybe, increase in certain behaviors, very, very key. Like say, for example, customer orientation, team building, etc. So this is the intent. You'll be given a case, you have to do that. So eligibility criteria. What is eligibility criteria? That means, hey, are people probationers, people who have put on their resignations, are they eligible for that? Or people, who are on maternity benefit, are they eligible? So you must have a policy of a variable pay plan where what is the criteria? What are performance measures? How are you going to measure the performance? Will you have criteria put out there? As I discussed, quality criteria, timeline criteria, performance criteria, range of performance, all that has to be clearly spelled out. Then, fourth, participation and payout. What is participation? What kind of level of people will participate? Will all people will be there? Senior managers, VPs, or is this incentive plan for a particular level? Okay. And what is my payout plan? Is it going to be monthly? Is it going to be quarterly? Now, this payout plan of monthly, quarterly, yearly will depend on whether it is to attract, whether it is to motivate, whether it is to retain. So this is called the payout plan. Then funding, where will the money come from? So some variable pay plans, when they are revenue oriented, obviously it will be self-funded. But if I have a incentive plan for what? Regularity. Okay, 100% attendance will get, some kind of a incentive. So I need to actually make, set aside some kind of a funding for that. Now, definitely what is administrative, in the sense, attrited people who are on leave, what kind of, checks and balances will I have? In the end, I'll need to review and evaluate. Okay. Now, I sent a case. This is the case. I want all of you to use your innovation, creativity. Now, a test for how you will design an incentive plan. Now, let me explain to you the exercise. Rooms. Now, this is an exercise you need to do. Now, this is a footwear chain. Okay. Now, this store outlet has one store manager, 25 sales executives, one assistant manager warehouse who takes care of the inventory. Under him, he has an admin officer and an office boy. Now, all these guys report into store manager. Sales executives report into sales manager. Okay. Now, you also have an admin's officer and office boy who report into this warehouse guys. Now, the sales executives, they work in 2 shifts. And this footwear chain has non-branded footwear and also branded footwear. Like branded is Nike, Adidas, etc., etc. And non-branded is the local stuff. Now, in the non-branded, you have higher margins, and in the branded, you have lower margins. Okay. So therefore, if you sell more of the non-branded, you might actually increase the margins. Sorry. Now, sales are seasonal. Obviously, festival seasons you have more, and there is a tendency to earn less during non-seasonal because you won't have incentive. This is like, I don't know if you people are working in any of you are working in IT organizations. So whenever people are on the bench, when they finish their projects and are on the bench, why do organizations don't want people to be for a longer period on the bench? Then they start giving them some trainings in the future readiness skills, etc. What happens to their compensation who are sitting people on the bench? Any idea? I'm sure a lot of people work in the IT. Tell me. Okay. Now, people on the bench in IT, they only get guaranteed salary, that is fixed salary. They don't get variable pay. And that's the time when people are then looking out for jobs. With me? So, likewise, non-seasonal time, even sales people can't get, because obviously, less sales and their incentives are very, very less and limited. And there are certain super sales people. Now they have to also retain them. Okay. Now, what is happening to these employees? they are not customer focused customers. In the sense, somebody asking just for small footwear, chappal, etc. They are impolite. Oh, this guy is only just asking for something, They don't want to show something better. Now they are not time oriented. Then they try to shut the shop doors quickly. They don't upsell and cross sell. Do you know what is upsell and cross sell? Trying to, if somebody is asking for a particular shoe and at certain price, then you can also show something at a higher value. Cross sell is if there is a shoe and you want to sell a socks, right? Accessories. So that's called upsell and cross sell, and no teamwork. Okay. Now, what is that you need to create a variable pay plan to increase productivity, to motivate employees? Having said that, I want you to look at intent, criteria, performance measures, and payout. That's all. I have also an Excel sheet wherein I want you to create that plan in that manner. Okay. Step 1, intent. Okay. Go through the case and write from the functional aspect. Like, for example, I've written from the functional aspect, why do you want to have this incentive plan? You want to increase sales. You want to have a better product mix. You want to increase customer orientation, certain behavior. From the HR aspect, this customer orientation is okay, more from the customer aspect. So teamwork, okay, etc. Retention. So this is the intent. Step 2, who are the people who are eligible? The sales people, the support staff. So list out all the people, all the employees, sales, assistant manager, warehouse, office boy, all of them. Now, as I mentioned, how will you design an incentive plan? So what percentage of their base salary you want to keep it as variable pay? Typically, people who are in the operations or in the sales will have a higher percentage of variable pay. That means, like for example, a sales can have a 30% or a 40% as their variable pay of their basic pay. Now, for support people, it will be 5%, 10%, 15%. This is just an indication. Don't have to go by it. So create this. Now, this is most important, where I told you criteria. This is expected. Level 1, if you are doing this much, you will get this A plus B. Level 2, if you have increased it, so you can have ascending order or descending order. So you just create either 2 levels or 3 levels. That's good enough. What essentially is this? This is your criteria. This is your performance criteria, taking into consideration what are those goals or objectives you want them to achieve from the sales or the support. Okay. And of course, the last step is payout. So will you pay out monthly and what percentage, or annually or quarterly? So for whom will you pay out monthly and from whom will you pay out annually, quarterly? That is something which you have to give here. And why? Is it for motivation or is it for retention? Okay. Step 1. Okay.
Okay, I'll explain everything. So we have written the intent for functional to increase the sales volume, customer management, and the timeline. So
1 second. So whenever you write the intent, you also have to see, hey, can it be measured? Can increase in sales volume be measured?
we have to write the
Yes.
measures.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. No, don't write. I'm just, this is only for your, thinking. So obviously sales can be measured. Why I'm coming to that is customer management. Can it be measured?
Yes, from the basis of
Management, or
CPAC.
can you say customer service?
Satisfaction, yeah, customer
Or
satisfaction.
customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
So that's what I was coming to,
Mhm.
So you can write customer satisfaction because you can definitely measure customer satisfaction. Okay.
Yeah.
So management can become satisfaction.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And from the
Team,
timeline
teamwork.
perspective, from the timeline perspective, we were trying to measure the schedule adherence.
So
Because there
right
has
there,
been a
schedule,
challenge.
that's more
Schedule
precise,
adherence.
right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So we can
That's
probably
more
change that to
precise. Yeah.
schedule adherence. Yeah.
You need to
Timelines or
change that.
timeliness.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
From the HR perspective, the teamwork, top performer retention. Top performer
Right.
retention is something that we'll be able to measure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teamwork, motivation, these could be measured from the perspective of employee satisfaction surveys.
Exactly. Great. Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's how you have to think when you write, saying that, hey, because whatever gets measured gets done. Whatever does not get measured does not get done. So therefore, whenever we start thinking, if we start thinking on those lines, then we are able to, then draft better. Yeah. Eligibility. Hmm.
So from the eligibility, we have included the entire population
Yeah,
as
you need to have all the people there because it's a store and
Mhm.
there is also interdependency, collaboration work is required. Everybody has to be there, right?
Right.
To drive sales, you need even that office boys support. Yeah.
Correct.
Mm, wait, 1 second. Yeah. So here, how much? 30%, 20%. Office boy, how much salary will he get? If you want to really make him, highly motivated, typically maybe a lump sum amount is far better off, right?
Right.
But if you're going to have 20% as his variable pay, huh? Isn't it? What will he take back? So, getting me? And then office boy, quarterly, doesn't motivate him. Monthly, even sales executive, yeah,
Mhm.
monthly and all that. You can also have some kind of office boy, some recognition stuff and all that, right? He's done some, he's able to be very polite, water, this, that, and he's able to really help directly in getting your customers, footfall, stuff like that. No?
Mhm. So Nirmala,
Yeah.
you're referring to BP that was base pay and not business profit, right?
No, I'm referring to base pay. See,
Mhm.
typically when we are talking about the total cost compensation,
Mhm.
if you notice in your organization, in your pay slip, there's certain percentage of a base salary,
Mhm.
which becomes your variable pay, right?
Correct.
Okay. So for salespeople, you have a higher percentage of base pay because their purpose is to go out and sell. If you give them a solid fixed salary, 50, 60%, 70, 80%, then uh, they will not be motivated to go. So you'll notice that the salespeople have a higher percentage of what? Variable pay.
Variable pay. Got it.
Okay. Whereas for an HR person, if I say, hey, 30% of your base salary is going to be variable pay, you tell me, will you be happy as an HR person?
No.
Why? Because there is no performance stretch. You recall session 1? I
Yeah.
spoke about performance stretch.
Mhm.
If the job does not have the performance stretch, in the sense I spoke about even for a recruiter and a payroll guy.
Mhm.
The stretch for a recruitment guy is higher than a payroll guy. Huh? So if I put for support functions higher variable pay, they'll say, hey, but there is the job itself. So so you need to understand that. That's why I said, okay, all
Mhm.
right.
Got it.
Admin guy, will you put 20%? Admin guy, maybe a
Suppose
10%. No?
10% should suffice for admin guy and office guy.
Exactly. Now I'm just trying to, help you with that
Mhm.
logic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. I mean, we took it in the other factor, like it would have been business profit. Yes, now we got that it's the
Okay,
percentage of
okay.
the
All right.
base
It's
pay.
always nice to see clarification. Huh?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. And on step 3, we've added the levels, like if they are able to measure and if the salesperson has completely achieved, then he's able to hit the complete 30% of the incentive. If partially
Right.
achieved, then it's 15%, and if not achieved, then it's 0.
Okay. So essentially, I want you all to understand that this is that range,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
We're trying to create a range so that, so this is what is expected. And if they do little more, this much you get. If you do little more, you get this much. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
So here you just wrote salesperson. You can actually, so essentially when we are designing incentive plan for everybody, it is written there. Okay. It's okay. You have just written support. Like for example, office boy, it could be a little different for him. Okay. Done.
Correct.
Oh,
And finally, when will they be paid? So on sales, as there is also a stress on having high profit margin on non-branded. So on those instances, we can have something like a spot thing so that they can have a rigor
Okay.
to push
Okay.
those sales. And for the
Okay.
other ones, it's a monthly for sales, and support guys, it's quarterly.
Okay. All right. For support guys, quarterly. Yes. For salespeople, you have to pay monthly. All right. And stores manager, you left him off. Management he gets annually or maybe,
Mhm.
uh, I mean 6 months.
6 months semi-annually.
Okay. Yeah. But if I were to add some more things in the sense that you could also have at an organization, at a store level, create some kind of, if you go to any store, they will do, hey, are you satisfied? So at a store level, what is the satisfaction, customer satisfaction? Incentive at a store level, it's like a gain sharing. No? What is it? What happens? What happens if you tie something like at a store level? So if you capture a metric at a store level, then everybody will be interested because everybody will get some amount. So if you say, hey, if the customer satisfaction is so much, it's higher, 90%, 100%, 20%. So you're going to get some kind of an incentive. So if you recall in today's times, if you go to any store, they'll ensure before you pay the bill, please press somewhere. Huh?
Yeah.
So that's one you can look at to increase the footfall. No? Okay. So, like for example, good job done. But just to add on few more things,
Sure.
for an office boy, you could give a lump sum amount, right? Sometimes, if a customer has been very happy with him, for some kind of a service he has done, a spot award, and then this office boy gets less salary, right? So a monthly. Than having what a variable pay, a lump sum amount on a monthly basis, 500 or 1,000 rupees, to make him motivated, because he is the guy who can give water and say, okay, you want the, people will generally feel happy. No.
Yeah.
And what about the assistant manager, warehouse guy, to ensure that you have what the inventory. Like for example, I want this size shoe, but then sales guy is all popped up. He's motivated the guy and he's trying to sell it. But when it comes to the size, it is not there. Then what will happen? Huh?
Yeah.
Many
that will
times,
happen.
okay, fine. Huh? I'll come back again. Huh?
Yeah.
So you have to differentiate. You can't have one fix for all, one plan for all. Have you noticed? That is why I gave variations.
Yeah, ma'am.
Depending on their role and depending on, what level and what is their job content. So you need to actually then link it up.
Sure.
Okay. Good job. Good.
Okay, so I will explain, Nirmala. So our intention is to increase the sales, of course, profit, and motivate our employees. So particularly, we are targeting the
profit
sales
is the
function.
lag indicator typically. Yeah. Okay. I give it to you. So increasing sales thereby increase the profits as well. Okay. Done.
Yeah. So increase of sales, we have hypothetically considered 30% we intend to increase our sales. And the
From the
combination.
HR perspective also you have written, right? One second.
Yes.
Am I on the from the HR perspective, you have written teamwork, top performance. Yeah, you can read that out as well.
Yeah.
The intent from the functional aspect and also from the HR aspect.
Motivation of employee.
Motivation, engagement, okay, top performance, retention,
Yes.
teamwork. All right.
Okay. So we intend to increase our sales by 30%, and the product mix would be 20% non-branding and 10% branding, because non-branding we will be earning more profit margin. So that's
Okay.
how we are targeting. And
Okay.
we have also weighted something for the customer orientation, that is the sales rate. And the sales rate, we will be calculating how many inquiries done against how many close. Suppose in a day 10 customer visited to the stores, and out of 10,
Good thought.
how many you closed against that. So this will be this will reflect the sales rate, or we can say as a conversion rate. Okay.
Conversion rate, right? Yeah.
Okay. So again, the eligibility for salespeople, the bifurcation or the weightage would be 60% for a fixed salary and 40% sales commission. The structure would be.
Okay.
And for support function, 85% would be a fixed salary and 15% would be the sales commission, or we can say variable pay. Okay. Can you scroll down, Pravati?
Yeah.
On step
Good
3,
work.
step 3, we have categorized level into descending order. Okay. So first we will see for the 100% eligibility, what they will get, or how much they will get. 100%. For example, a salesperson need to achieve 100%, 40% of his sales commission. So for 40%, what will be his 100% eligibility? Level 3 indicates if he does 30% of a sales revenue, but the product mix is 15 and 15, not 20, 10. If he does 15, 15 and the conversion rate is 80%, then he would get 100% of a 40% commission.
Yeah. Can I just interrupt? I wanted to tell. So Dijo and I think it was Dijo and who else were there? To that group one, I think. So here, what we were trying to do is that we said, I was there with this group. When you're designing an incentive plan, we talked about you can actually give predetermined goals or objectives, and you can also do weightages. So here they have actually gone into 2 or 3 criteria and given certain amount of weightages. Yeah, just to clarify, so that the other group is also on the same page. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Continue.
And same determined figure we have mentioned for support people as well. So the same. And then if they achieve this, particularly level 3, they will be eligible for 100% of their sales incentive. Now we have
I'll make
given
a
the
suggestion
stage.
here. Now, support. Okay. So my question was, so when you're looking at your entire workforce,
Okay.
sales job description is different.
Right.
But now when it comes to support, say for example, his performance will be evaluated on the basis of whether the inventory was there or not, right?
Okay. Okay.
So
okay, we need to redefine for the support.
So sometimes what happens, so you need to define certain other measures, KPIs for them.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay. For
You
support
can't have the
function.
same sales revenue, product mix, etc.
Yeah. Got it.
Just for your.
So we need to redefine for support.
Okay.
I mean, we need to add other
Yeah.
parameters in that case. So for 125
Exactly. Like, for example,
level, I mean,
office boy is also included. Office boy is included in support. So how will he do that? What is it?
Okay.
Right? So
Okay.
just based on those. But what happens? That's where most of the incentive plans fail. Because why? Either the input is not there or the output is not within their control. Got it?
Correct. So actually, basically, that's the reason we defined their variable as a 15% than 40%, because
You are absolutely right. I was trying to tell the other group that for the support function, you cannot have a very high variable. Absolutely right. Done. Good job. Yeah, carry on.
And then 125% also we have given. The combination is, though the sales revenue would be 30%, then product mix we are expecting 20 and 10. It will be targeted to more profit level. So if they achieve 30% with this combination and the sales rate, can you just make it bigger, Pravati, D column? So the so for 100% we have mentioned sales rate as a 80%, but for 125% we are ready to give you 125%, provided you should achieve a 30% with the product mix 10, 20, 10, 10, and the sales rate would be 85%. Similarly, for 150% also, we have defined sales revenue also very straight, that is 35% with the product mix of a 25, 10. This is an outstanding performance with the sales rate of a 90%. So likewise, we are prepared, Nirmala. And then the commission, we intend to give quarterly basis, not on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And for retention, we have identified long-term service award. So for 3 years, 6 years, and 9 years, we will be declaring some service award for employee, so they can be retained.
So here's the good job, but just few suggestions. Like for
Okay.
example, in a payout, typically what happens at the low end, entry level, etc., or for example, salespeople. So to motivate them, typically see if you pay on a quarterly basis, will it be motivating enough? That's the point you have to take. Will it be motivating? So typically sales commissions are paid depending on the product of course and their cycle. So on a monthly basis. Like if you go to any BPO call centers, their variable pays are paid, mostly on a monthly basis to motivate them. Because essentially what at a low level, you want to motivate them. All right. Now support staff. Okay. Maybe quarterly, half yearly or yearly. All right. Long term, I give it to you. So like a store manager, you'll typically pay him annually or maybe
Yes,
half year.
annually.
Okay. So why? And for salespeople, you can also say that 10% of, that at the end of the year to retain them, you're going to give an additional 1 month bonus, retention bonuses. Okay.
Okay.
So we have to go by the philosophy, what exactly I want to get out of this plan. Of course, you can't add a laundry list out of one incentive plan, which sometimes organizations do. You have to have just about 2 or 3 intents which you want to get through. So therefore, if you really want to motivate entry level or at a sales level, say, so you always pay them on a monthly basis. Okay. You'll notice even in organizations, VPP, that is variable pay payouts, normally happen for support staff a quarterly or a half yearly. But whereas for the operational people, they get monthly. Have you seen that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good, guys. So typically there are 2 ways of doing it. One is you can either take what was the wage cost last year, right? That's one method. That is going by the last year's cost, employee cost, wage cost. Or there is one more which I was actually talking about. That is, let me just use it here itself, annotate. You can also use something called what? ECR. And I told you what is ECR. What is ECR? What is ECR?
Electronic challan written.
Employee cost. Very important metric, please remember.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. I think employee cost to
Revenue.
revenue. If you are a company which is there, been there, it's not a startup, then you can always use last year's, year before last year, how much was the compensation pool? You can start from there. But what if you don't have and a startup and how to budget? Then you will typically go by what? Employee cost to revenue. That is ECR ratio. Now, typically what happens if you go to any of these annual returns, profit and loss statements, you'll have the wage cost and also you'll have the revenue. And by that data, you can actually calculate your ECR ratio. Now, you have to find out what are the typical ECR ratios for my peer companies. Say you are an IT company and you want to do budgeting. You are a startup, and you are comparing yourself with Wipros and Infosys, etc. So from the profit and loss or the annual return statement, you can actually then look at their ECR ratio. Somebody may have 20%, someone may have, Infosys may have what, 15%, or another IT company may have say about 18%. Now, what will you do? So you've got a range of data starting from 15 to 20%. Now you will say, hey, maybe I would like to take the mid course. Maybe I'll go with what? 18%. So that will become your starting point to calculate your compensation budgeting. Okay. So looking at the compensation pool, what it was last year, say it was 200 million. Okay. Now, how do I go about budgeting? Then I will ask the business, etc., and the business will tell me, or the CEO say, hey, we have actually planned a growth of 25%. So therefore, even your compensation pool has to go up by 25%. So that means approximate figure. So if 200 was your last year's pool, then it becomes about 250. So this is your figure. Now, what should you be doing next? You'll have to start looking at all the line items which you need to take into consideration to say, where will I actually be incurring the costs? For example, in India, you know, the new wage code and or the tax, etc., all the regulatory stuff, government and regulatory compliances. So I'll say, hey, this is something which you will incur. So I'll put 10 million. Or I want to bring about, equity, or looking at my external equity, and new employees' salaries have to be very competitive. So I increase the sales. So I say, hey, the budget needs to be increased to 20 million. Then for attracting, and these are all line items, mind you. I'm looking at all the line items. So attracting and retention. So a new variable plan has to be instituted. So I say 10 million. Again, my typical, think about in your inner technical supervisory roles, I need to change their practices, etc. I'm going to spend about 2 million. What am I doing? I'm now again getting into line items and approximately what amount will be budgeted for that. So typical merit rating, annual increments, 8 million. For internal equity, grade shifting, 1 million. External equity, I'm taking corrections, etc., 4 million. For say, COLA, that is cost of living, inflation, etc., 1 million. Now add up all these line items and they have come up to how much? 256 million. But what is the budgeted figure? 250. Now what will I do? It is increasing by 6 million. So typically what will I do? Will it get sanctioned by the CEO?
No.
No. So what will you do? You will have to go through again, look at every item and say, hey, where is that I can actually reduce? Something which is compliance, I really can't do much about it. Maybe competitiveness, I can do little bit here. So I will reduce it by 2 million because I'm exceeding by how much? 6 million, right?
6
So
million, yeah.
where do I make those? So maybe, variable
Maybe
plans.
variable.
2, right? But here it's already 2 million. I can't really reduce it there. Then again, maybe so
Annual hike.
merit rating. So maybe 1 I can cut short here. So what I will do, I will reduce it. But yet I'm still short of 1 million. I go back to my CEO and tell him, Probably I will make do by ensuring, better performance, better variable pay plans and increase. Because mind you, whenever you are increasing the wage cost, okay, what happens? Whenever you are increasing the wage cost, but proportionately you are not showing revenue increases, tell me what happens. Just tell me what happens. I gave you one option. When you are increasing the wage cost, but your revenues have not gone up, what happens?
Profit would go down.
Absolutely, profit will go down. And will the CEO be okay with profit going down? Tell me,
No,
will he be okay?
no.
Imagine an HR head to even get permission sanction of one full-time employee. Oh my God, you have to negotiate because you have to look at the, wage cost increase, etc., etc. So therefore, do you know what happens typically every year when we do this budgeting? You need to go to every business guy and say, hey, how can we bring in automation? Think of that. I spoke about what? All those ways how you can bring down your wage cost. What is that you can look at? Tell me quick. Automation, bring in technology, reduce your manpower. What else can you do? Portfolio workers or career deceleration. Rather than having people at a very high cost, bring subject matter experts if required, and then get them at half the cost. So you have to look at various ways of how can I reduce my wage cost, but yet be very, very efficient and effective. So that's a challenge which is given to the compensation and benefit guys, saying that, year you can't actually, you don't, because it is all about affordability, right? You can't have all that, you can't hire at any cost, you can't hire it. So you need to understand what kind of skill inventories am I requiring? What kind of skill sets? So where will I allocate higher salaries? Where will I allocate? What kind of a pay policy will I have? This is where, what is that? How will you weave together all this knowledge of, to which are my critical positions where I need? That's why HR head is very, very important. Which are my critical positions where I can really get the best? And where can I reduce salaries? Where, like, for example, I can pay below the par. It's okay. I can have support functions or whatever functions. So this is how you make a combination, yet ensure that it is aligned with your business goals and objectives. Okay. So guys, I think, you would be having one big project to do as well, so that you are able to then reinforce all that you have learned in all these 4 sessions, and how you can weave together all, all whatever we've spoken in internal equity, external equity, individual equity, trying to design variable pay plans, and this will definitely reinforce all your learning. And thank you so much for the excellent participation, guys. I think in all the 4 sessions, all of you are very, very participative, patient to learn. Thank you, one and all.